Alright guys, welcome back to my new video. Sorry I didn't make a video last week. I was just a little busy, so I'll make a small little recap in the beginning of this video. But it won't be that long. But as a whole, I didn't really like the last episode, like the second one. Because the main episode as a whole was okay, but I didn't like that, Alice was like the main villain, and like they're fighting against bats, and like it didn't make sense how they did it, because how would mouse be poisoned for days and enough to go through hundreds of bats? But besides that, I guess it was interesting. I thought maybe they go down the route of doing like Man-Bat, which I would have done for them, but they didn't. And they had them just killing people, and then they had Ryan being afraid of bats, but then when she actually fights them, and later in the episode she has absolutely no fear, which makes 0 sense, like not even the slightest bit of fear. But that's basically my thoughts on it, is it just didn't make sense. But it wasn't a bad episode, and it revealed a bit about her backstory. And they had the weird fight scene with her and Alice, which wasn't great, choreography-wise. But on to today's video, which is the 3rd episode. It was interesting. So in the first scene, we're introduced to Victor Zsasz, and he is murdering a couple very specifically according to his order. And he's interesting. He's better than I thought he was gonna be, but he's a little weird. I still prefer the Gotham version over him, but he was better than I thought he was gonna be. And he has these, like, the scars that he has, which I don't know. I've seen this, in Birds of Prey, and this, like, very sloppily, like him, tallying himself. But, like, I think it makes more sense to do what they did, like, in Gotham, where it's, like, more organized and neat. But that might just be me. Victor Zsasz is an interesting character. Birds of Prey didn't do a good job with him. Gotham in this show, well, Gotham did good. This show did decent. But yeah, I thought it was kind of funny that in his sick reasoning, he's running out of space for his tallies, so he has to retire soon. Even though he probably won't be able to finish, because he's probably going to be in prison. But the next scene, we see the snake bite drug more and more of the Fall Face Society. And we see Ryan come in and struggle a bit more and loses all the batterings. But what doesn't make sense to me is, why didn't she just pick them up? She talks to her parole officer to get a day job. And so, and we also meet a patient of Mary's who has cancer, and Mary basically hires Ryan at the holdup, and she has a job. And Mary, throughout the episode, is beginning to doubt that Kate could be alive. And the crows talk about the snakebite serum and reveal that it's a combination of mushrooms and the scarecrow fear toxin. And as you can see in this next picture, Sophie and Alice wake up on, I don't think they ever said the name of this place, but I guess Sophia's Island. I'm pretty sure they use the same set as Leon Yu in Arrow. I could be wrong. But it was interesting. I'm not that interested in the character Sophia, because it basically just feels like a female version of Ra's al Ghul. Like, mysterious people that are isolated, and like they wear similar outfits and behave kind of similar. and like they have a thing that helps heal things like unnaturally. Yeah, it's like copy paste. But here she is, Sophia, and her and Alice are talking for quite a while. A bunch of things. And we get to see the desert rose, which is the cause of all of the regenerative stuff. Which, I don't know, it's not what I pictured it being, like, looking like. And then there's the big thing where she's talking about, oh, you think it's me just because someone wrote my name on a note, suggesting that she didn't kill her and that someone else did. And then in this next part, there's a bunch of Zsasz stuff. Like, you see Zsasz breaking into Hamilton Dynamics and killing 2 people. But I don't understand how he just walked in and out with no one seeing him. Especially since he killed one of them out in the open. And then after that, we see the Batwoman crew watching the video surveillance. And Ryan recognizes Victor. And basically, Batwoman goes to his house. This scene was kind of funny. I mean, it wasn't super funny, but it was amusing, I guess. Like, she's in the apartment, and he's not so subtly talking about how, like, she needs to be different and set herself apart from the old Batwoman. Which, that part wasn't great, but then this next part is kind of funny, as you can see in the picture. Like, she's like, I see something, and he's like, oh, do you see this RPG? And then just fires. I thought that was kind of funny and a little crazy, showing how insane he is. And then they get a list off of that while she was there, and the victims had nothing to do with each other, but they find out that Sophia is his boss. Then it goes back to Sophia. It goes back to Sophia, and it talks about how Kate isn't actually dead, but Sophia learns that Mary was the person that told the world about the rose, desert rose. I forgot what it's called for a second. And so sends Zsasz after her, and while she's out in the alleyway, Batwoman comes in the new suit and basically defeats her. And it's also revealed that the cancer woman no longer has cancer because of the desert rose. And there's like a bit of a weird scene after she defeats Zsasz, where the parole officer talks about how she likes Batwoman, even though that stands against everything she stands for. And Sophie is also looking for Kate now, because Alice told her about it. And I will say with the Zsasz thing, it was kind of interesting how, like, she was punching him and he was referencing Batman and saying, like, you can't hurt someone who likes being hurt, which was interesting, but I feel like he's kind of defeated in a weird way. But yeah, at the very end, I was excited because there's a Black Mask reference. Because there's 2 agents walking, and one of them is saying that his CI, which is a criminal investigator, which is, if you don't know, basically just a criminal who's helping the police, is talking about how he knows who the False Face Society leader is, and has a picture of him. But the other guy says, I can't show this to the boss, it's just a guy in the black mask, and you don't even know his name. Which is clearly a reference and confirming that he's going to be in the show later. Which is exciting because if you hadn't seen my other Black Mask video, Black Mask is probably my favorite Batman rogue villain. I just hope that they do him well, unlike Birds of Prey. But that is going to be it for today's video, and I hope you guys enjoyed. Goodbye.